Welcome, welcome to the Sunday morning simulcast with Rom Wills. Face the reality of life. Face the reality. I'm gonna tell you what, many people out here are either sleepwalking or they living in their own world. They're not dealing with the realities of life. And when I say realities, like what's actually going on. Not what you want to happen, or not just your misinterpretation of different situations, but what's actually happening. Because one of the biggest issues with a lot of people is they're just not dealing with the reality of life. And when I say life, their living situation, where they live, the nature of their friends, the nature of what's going on in the world. And there's a whole lot of that. Shoot, there's some people that make money off of them. They just say, hey, whatever vision they have, they'll just say, oh yeah, that's it. Shoot, you have some people living in some fantasies. Shoot, they unfortunately get to make up a narrative that other people will follow. It happens a lot. The thing with us is people have to be present. People have to be present. They have to be realistic about whatever their situations are. Like, here's a basic example. You get people thinking that they're going to win some money. Like, really, not just playing like a lottery or something for fun. You know, just something to do. It's like, oh, $1 million, oh, let me just buy a ticket. No, you got some people who are actually doing that. I mean, I've heard of people like selling their whole house just to get a ticket. They ain't seem to win. You know, that wasn't dealing with reality. You taking that shot at something, like maybe making some money, but that's a lot of money. That's not there being realistic. Meanwhile, the person who won it, you know, they just had an extra dollar and just spent it, you know? But here's the thing. Here's the thing. People have to deal with their situations as best as possible. Let me use a relationship example. Many people don't deal with the reality of their mate. A lot of times, especially since I deal primarily with relationships, you hear about someone knowing that their mate is cheating, someone knowing that their mate is really abusing them, someone knowing that their mate is not who they say they are. But because they want to be in that belief system that this person so, you know, supposedly loves them, they ignore all of that. They have the blinders on. And that happens so common. Shoot, I could just talk about that. But that's a prime example. You're not paying attention to what's actually happening there. You know, it can happen on jobs. Sometimes people, you know what, they're just being pushed around. They're not treated fairly, but they lie to themselves. See, one of the things with not facing the reality of life is you will lie to yourself. You know, not just have the fantasy about something, but lying to yourself about what's actually going on instead of the reality of something, facing the truth of what's happening. See, when you do that, regardless if it's a relationship, job, friends, family, whatever your situation, when you face the reality of life, then you can deal with the problems that come up. Because that's a major reality. I don't care. Nobody is going to live. I don't care how much money you got, how good your relationships are. Something always comes up. Now, you want to work to the point that it's not major and it can't hurt you, but it's still going to come up. Things happen. You know, you could have that real nice car. In fact, let me use that as an example. You could say you want that late model luxury car, you know? And you can even get it. And so you pretending like, yeah, I'm the man. Or you could be like, I'm the woman driving that thing. All right. And acting like you big, tough, you up there and everything. It's really a fantasy. You can't afford that car. It can have the slightest thing happen to it and you can't afford to fix it. See, yes, you can want it, and yeah, you can try to present that fantasy, but the reality is you can't afford it. You can't afford it. The reality is, yeah, you have it in your yard, but you just got a couple things turned off. That's the nature of it. A lot of people want to live in a world of make-believe. They want to pretend. No, you got to be realistic about everything. You got to say, okay, this is what's actually happening. This is the deal. But then that's how you can solve the issue. If you look at it, you know, you can get out of that bad relationship. Like, I'm going to use that example again because I've heard from so many people, seen so many stories. They knew their mate was cheating on them. They knew this person was bad for them, but they were purposely ignoring stuff right in front of them. They weren't dealing with reality. You know, just deal with the reality. And I'm going to tell you what, it's tough. Let's just be real. The reason people don't deal with it, it can be painful. But the consequences of not dealing with reality are even more painful. Because the truth will always be. The truth will always come out. The reality will always pop up. It's just a question of when. It's better to deal with a small hurt, which you can get over, than a hurt that can, like, really, quite frankly, last you the rest of your life. You gotta be real out here. You gotta deal with it. Deal with the situation. You know what? When the elephant is in that room, sometimes somebody need to say, you know, we gotta talk about this. That's the reality. A lot of times stuff is happening and we don't want to discuss it. But if we're trying to solve a problem, we're gonna have to address the elephant in the room. That's just it. We need more people to do that. And then, like I said, it's tough. Because one, it's tough to face it, and two, you know, you really don't want to hurt people by pointing out some stuff. But hey, sometimes you got to have some tough love and just say, no, this is what the deal is, okay? All right, we can't mess around. This is what you might have to tell somebody about themselves. Somebody might have to tell you about yourself, but it's still the reality. Face the reality of life. I don't care how tough it seems. I don't care how much little bit of pain it can cause. It's way better than the long-term pain. It's way, way better. So I'm gonna tell you what, I want y'all to really think about that and just really be honest with yourself. Be honest about the situations that come up. And as I said, it's tough. I'm gonna reiterate that part. It's tough. It's tough. Because, you know, some of y'all fellas, y'all know that, you know, you want that woman badly, but the reality is she talks to you only when she's forced to. And some of y'all ladies, y'all know y'all want that dude bad, but he barely acknowledges you. You got to deal with that, okay? Deal with the reality of the situation and then move on. So that's all I have for now. I want y'all to think on what I've said. I'll get back with y'all. Peace and blessings.